Shepnaz podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Shepnaz podcast. I'm Joe and I'm your host today. And today I have with me an entire room full of people that just recently got back from a trip to Uganda. And they were led on this trip by Pastor Bryanna and Joshua. And now they are here. And I can tell you from even before we started recording, they are very excited to be back together in the same room, in the same place. They're already talking about reunion meetings and going out to dinner. So I take it from all that they had a great time. Welcome in, Pastor Bryanna.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. So tell us, especially for those that really haven't had any experience with what's been going on, maybe somebody that's listening that's not real familiar with the church. What did you guys like, the trip that you planned and where did you end up going and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so this trip kind of started actually a couple years ago. So I was actually at Nazarene Youth Conference with our teens. I was at Hollywood Studios in Disney, and Josh calls me and is like, I have something really exciting to tell you. And I was like, okay. And he's like, Pastor Rob asked if we could lead a mission trip to Uganda. So this was summer of 2023. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like that would be amazing. And so we started kind of brainstorming and coming up with, what and when. And a few months passed. It's like August, September. We hadn't fully had everything figured out. So we had a meeting with Rob. We're like, how about we instead, we had been planning to do summer of 2024. And we were like, how about instead, to give people time to save money and prepare better, we will do it summer of 2025. And so we had planned to kind of announce it at Faith Promise, which is in February. If you're not familiar with Faith Promise, it's like when we have missionaries come, and it's a chance to just talk about missions and, all of that stuff. So it was a long time in the making. So the fact that it's happened, it's already done, is kind of crazy because we've been preparing for this for, almost over 2 years. So so we did that, and the reason why we led a trip to Uganda, if you're listening and don't know, Josh, my husband's from Uganda. I met him in Uganda. We have connections through Watoto Ministries, which we'll get into, and so we knew we wanted to lead it at Watoto since we have those connections, and so we kind of started from there.
All right, so Joshua, bring us in a little bit from for those that were familiar back in December, as we were kind of really kind of gaining momentum for this trip. We actually had some people come in from Watoto to do the Watoto Children's Choir. So kind of tell us a little bit about maybe some of your experiences in that kind of environment, with Watoto and with training the kids, and even, as I know, because I've seen some of the recordings, being involved in some of those videos yourself.
That's a broad question. I don't even know where to start.
You take it wherever you want to go with it.
Oh man, my experiences. First of all, Watoto is it's an English cell-based community church that rescues orphans and widows and gives them a home, raises these kids to become future leaders for the nation, beyond the nation. So I grew up in a village called Subi. It's in a place called Mpiji, although it's very hard for a lot of people to pronunciate that. So they end up saying MPG, which is very wrong.
very, very wrong. I have a feeling there's been people here that have said it very wrong.
Yeah, including Luke. He always says it wrong. But yeah, they give these kids a home, a family of about 8, and in this household there is a mother, which is these widows that have also been rescued from. They've been abandoned with their kids. Now, I was not an orphan. My mom decided to go work in Watoto. So she brought me and my brother with her. That's how I got to join Watoto. Watoto avails a school, avails all the basic needs that a child needs to grow up from infancy, and then we'll get into it a little bit later, the baby home where the very little ones, the babies who have been thrown out, some of those kids have been thrown out in the trash, literally, or pit latrines, those toilets with just the hole. You have to literally squat to. Some kids have been found in there, so Watoto just rescues all these kids and just gives them a home and gives them a future.
So this is a place that's been very near and dear to your heart because you grew up there, not as an orphan, but your mother was working there and you got to live there. And now Pastor Rob has come to you two and said, hey, can you organize a trip? And then I'm taking it that all these people sitting here said yes. So if you would kind of introduce our group to us.
Sure. So we'll start with my mom, Valerie. Hi. Yosik. She's a nurse. I don't know. What else do you want me to say?
She's been my mom her whole life. My whole life.
All of them to introduce themselves.
Yeah. Why don't? Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Valerie Yosik. Jeff and I have been here for over 30 years here at Shepherd. And so when, Bryanna and Josh got married, his mom wasn't able to go. So that was one of my big things is I wanted to be able to meet his mom. We both did. And so that was an incredible experience. And then, we heard so much. Bryanna has been there, 6 times now? So we've heard a lot about all that everything entailed and what she experienced and that kind of stuff. So we wanted a chance to do that and serve. And
it's had all the makings of a rom-com movie where the parents of one set goes to meet the parents. Yeah.
Yes, so it does. I'm Jeff. I'm Bryanna and Joshua's pop and dad. I echo that. It was... the first time I think back to when Bryanna first went over there and how nervous it was just to send a single daughter overseas on a mission trip.
Yeah.
But I had an inner peace with it for whatever reason, if it was a God thing or whatever. And then the subsequent times that she went over and then met Joshua. And so the whole love story began between them. And as Valerie said, the opportunity that it afforded us to go over and serve, but at the same time, as you said, to kind of bring our whole family together to meet Joshua's mom and brother and sisters. And it was really a unique opportunity for us to do all of that at one time. So very blessed to be able to do that and experience that. So, yeah.
Definitely a rom-com.
Rom-com is definitely.
Take notes.
there's definitely some mom in it too.
Yes.
Bryanna.
Do you want me to introduce myself?
You already introduced
Well,
yourself.
I think we got Bryanna and
Yeah.
Joshua. Let's get to somebody that's not related. All right.
Caitlin girl.
What should I say? All right, I'm Caitlin. I actually just graduated nursing school in May, and I just started my job literally 4 days from when we got back. I grew up here at Shepherd. I went to Little Lambs when I was little and grew up all the way going to there all the way until they stopped having school, and then I went to a public school. How I heard about the trip, it was crazy. Literally, I think maybe a month or something before that, I was like, I really want to go on a mission trip to Africa. And then I was sitting at church and it came across that they were doing a mission trip to Uganda. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I have to go. So, and the Lord definitely provided a way for me to go on that. So.
Oh, my turn.
Yeah. No, I didn't go, so it's not me.
I mean, every time I look at you, I can't help but to see Lucas, and I have to remind myself that he's not here. But my name is Jody Marchetti. I have been at Shepherd for a little over 15 years, I think now. I am a life coach and business development coach. I also have 15 years experience in corporate finance and banking. Going on this mission trip was very important to me and very close to my heart because of the work that I do here with women and children. So being able to have that experience was definitely an addition, of what God is already doing in my life. This is a very unique experience for me as well. So this is my second international trip, being a member here at Shepherd. And I actually met Valerie and Bryanna on the first mission trip that I went on about 5 years ago, 2020, when we went to Costa Rica. So also, I have been here so long that I've seen Bryanna and Caitlin and Lucas, who is not here, actually, since they were little, kind of grow up in the church. So to see them all develop into young adults and where they are and still have the passion for God the way that they do is very motivational and inspiring.
Nice. Now, Caitlin, I think you had started to allude to it, but God definitely provided in a big way for you. There were miracles happening before the trip even started. Could you talk a little bit about that? Would you be willing to share that?
Yeah. So I had wanted to go on the trip, and there was just so much that had to happen before going on this trip. So I was kind of just contemplating on if God really wanted me to go on the trip. So I was kind of doubting myself because I had to graduate school, which means pass all my exams, graduate nursing school. I had to pass my NCLEX and all this other stuff. And I had to be able to go on the trip, get back from the trip, and be able to start my job all in this literally 2-month period. And I was just I just don't, it's stressful because if one thing goes wrong, it's not going to go through. So I was doubting, and then I just honestly was just if this is God and he really wants me to do this, everything is going to fall into place. So I went on that, and I was all right, that's what it is. And then at the church that I've been going to, they had a offering, and I had planned on giving stuff to the offering, but in the moment I decided I'm just going to give more. I felt like God wanted me to give more, so I did. And then I went home, and I remember telling my mom, I don't see where God's going to bless me. I have this set income and this and that. There's no way. I just don't see it. And she was you just have to have faith. And I was all right, whatever. And so then I think it was the next day, I realized that the trip was going to be a little bit more expensive than I had thought. So I was kind of stressed out about that because I had just, give money, and then now it's going to be more expensive, and all these things are just not going the way that I felt like they should. And then, so I started a GoFundMe, and after I started the GoFundMe, I think it was maybe 3 days later, I had gotten an email from Capital, which was where I went to college, and it said that I had a balance due in my student account. And I was wait, school's completely paid for, so this doesn't make sense. Why I have a balance due? And when I went in there to look at it, they had given me a scholarship for $2,500, and it pretty much paid for the entire mission trip. So I was just wow, okay, I'm going to stop doubting that I'm supposed to go on this trip and just accept the fact that this is where I'm supposed to be. And so, yeah, that money pretty much paid for it. And then the money that I got from the GoFundMe also helped, and everything went into line. I graduated, passed my NCLEX, went on the trip, and I started my job 4 days after. So everything just went into alignment, and it just shows that you really, even when you're doubting, just have faith that God's going to pull you through, and he's going to just do what he wants you to do.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys all get together, and for some of you, it's the first time maybe that you've been together for a long period of time, and you're getting on a plane. All right, so tell us a little bit about the plane trip out. For those that don't know what a plane trip from Columbus, Ohio is like to get to Uganda. Who wants to tackle that one?
Well, I think she would. She was nervous.
First of all, let's talk about Columbus, but let's talk about the little thing at the Boston airport. How Maria or whatever
Oh, that was so funny. That was a good one. That's a good. I forgot about that. God was really working in that.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Do you want to talk about Columbus or like that?
I mean, I was nervous in Columbus, and then I just remember like sitting in the airport because I didn't really know. I wasn't super close with like any of these people, so it was just like I was kind of just going on the trip with people, and we were sitting in Columbus, and I forget what we were saying, but we joked about something, and then I remember texting my mom saying like, I think this trip is actually going to be like pretty fun, which it ended up obviously being. So
Yeah. I don't think it took very long.
No.
For this group, yeah.
I thought you meant the plane ride. I'm like,
no,
where
no,
were you?
That's another story.
I feel like once it landed.
That's another story. What I want to go, Bryanna was trying to sell the whole plane thing. The Qatar airline is, the seats go back.
It's comfortable.
Oh my goodness. Compared to Brussels.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will, the Qatar airline was not, the food was
What?
good.
was that at Boston or Qatar that Maria?
It was at
Yeah,
Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right, so
sorry,
give me the hops in,
Yeah.
in chronological
Okay, yes.
order.
All right.
Okay, so we fly from Columbus to Boston to Qatar, which that first
Give the distance, the line.
the first flight. I mean, Boston. That one's like what,
2
an hour or
hours.
2 hours.
It's 2 hours.
Boston to Qatar. The first flight was 12 hours, and it was overnight. And then from Qatar to Uganda, it's 5 hours. So back to back, like there's really no long layovers. You're just going. So, but we landed in Boston, and we're trying to get to our gate, and there's this like woman that was like lost.
She stopped Val.
Yeah,
she was
she
like,
stopped.
"Can you help
Mom.
me?"
She was flying to Paris, and she was like, I can't find my gate. And so like somehow this ended up on like some adventure, and we're like running through.
Everybody stopped. And we had was it all the women?
It was all of us women. Like,
Where was
all the women.
You and Lou
and Lou were
Yeah.
All the women grabbed this lady and took off running for a gate.
Yeah.
And I just kind of I don't know where
Do you
the other
even knew
guys.
what was going on?
I was
He
trying
had
to-
no
He was just
idea.
making sure
I
he
was
knew
just-
where everybody
I
was.
was trying to figure out what was going on, trying to follow the best I could. I don't know where you.
You guys went
Yeah,
way
we
ahead.
were way
We got to some
But
point and we
they
sat
were
down.
doing they were doing God things at the Boston airport. They got this lady to the gate, and she was so thankful. She made her flight, and they totally were not thinking about what we needed to be doing.
Getting
They
to
were
our
doing
house.
no, but they were helping this lady out, which was
Yeah.
Because
it
when
was
she
awesome.
when
So-
she stopped us, I think it was like she had literally like maybe 7 minutes
And they kept
to get to her
calling
gate.
her
And they
name
kept
on
calling her
the-
name. And it was how many
A
miles
long
do you
way.
think it was?
We
It was
ran.
far.
Like, it
We-
was
Yeah.
far.
At one
You
point,
guys
she
ended up
was
with
way
Bryanna.
ahead of me. Brianna was way ahead of me, and I was just with the lady, and
Yeah.
Brianna was just trying to get to the gate. To
I was trying to run at the gate to let the agents know, like, she's coming. And I ended up running to the wrong gate. I kept going. They're like, Bryanna, should say
Just stopping by
Yeah.
every gate. There's somebody
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
There's somebody
yeah.
coming.
Yes, so,
But-
we got her, so that was awesome.
Yeah, well, I said that not to, like, toot our own horn. I just thought it was,
No,
like, a
but
funny... I
it
feel like
was-
that kind of, like, broke
But that
down
was
our
the big
walls a bit.
Boston.
Like, we're
Yeah.
kind of, like...
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest adventure
Icebreaker.
in Boston was that.
Because that was the thing, like I wasn't expecting to like break a sweat before a
Oh,
12-hour
yeah.
flight either, and we were sweating,
We were sweating.
working to get to her gate.
Yes.
It's a big airport.
It was.
So you finally make it to Qatar, and from there to Uganda, and then you get
That's customs.
all the baggage
That's customs.
to Uganda, and
Baggage.
a couple days later, I hear that like there's extra baggage.
This
I'm
was
pretty sure it
coming.
was like 3 days later.
days later.
Yeah, okay.
3 days later.
Well, it started in
Yes.
the airport. So when we were getting all of the bags, I'm like, all right, guys, that's not my bag. And I had to go and find my last bag. So somehow the bag still ended up with us.
Yeah, because you were like, mine's a blue bag. So one of the guys see a blue suitcase and
And it got
grabbed it,
carried
and
down.
it was like
Yeah.
with our stuff. So
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
so when a couple of days later,
It ended up in the house.
it's a single piece of luggage upstairs.
Upstairs.
So
And I
Caitlin's
brought-
room, Bryanna and Josh's room, and our room were upstairs in the
Yeah.
house.
And
So
I was carrying the suitcase upstairs because like Jody's room is downstairs, and I'm carrying it upstairs. I'm like, Jody, is this your suitcase? You're like, nope, I got mine. I'm like, okay, so it's someone else's. So I just set it in
It's
like
set
on the landing, and
so
like
then I it sat there, and then like on day 3, I was like, somebody's
Caitlin came out. She's like,
It was one day I was walking by it, and I'm like, man, like Jody hasn't used her suitcase yet. It was like day 3. I'm like, this is weird. She hasn't used it.
Yeah, and I looked at it, and it had somebody else's name on it, and I was like, somebody doesn't have their luggage. So I carried it downstairs, and I was like, we have to tell Andrew. And then it went from there. It had made it. They had to take it back to the airport, and but we had to. Well, we had to figure out whose it was.
well, we looked them up on Facebook too and figured it
Figured out whose it was, and they did get it back. But it sat there for 3 days. It was.
Yeah. But at least this person lived in Uganda. It wasn't that they didn't have their luggage.
Maybe they
someplace
had
else.
some other stuff.
So that was a little bit of
Yeah,
a
it was-
Oh, that's good. All right. So I think we're probably going to maybe wrap it up for today. And tomorrow we're going to get really into the nitty gritty of what happened while you were there and kind of maybe some of the ministry opportunities and things that you saw. So in the meantime, you can go to shepnaz.org and find out everything that's going on in the church. Also, we encourage you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For Pastor Bryanna and everyone that went to Uganda, I'm Joe. Have a great day. This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.
Your face, Val.
I was really
gonna stay here.
She thought we were really coming back
Come back
tomorrow.
I did. My small group.